Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings for Friday, November the 24th. We've got 8 games on this Friday night. We're back after Thanksgiving. There was no NBA games on Thanksgiving, but all the family festivities are over. Recording this video on Thursday night, and I wanted to go ahead and give you guys a quick preview of Friday's NBA slate, what I'm liking, taking a first look at this slate on Thursday night. But as always, guys, before we do get started with the breakdown, if you guys do enjoy these DFS videos, and if they help you out, make sure you hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet, and if you guys are new to the channel and if you don't have an account over on PrizePicks, we do have a partnership with PrizePicks. You guys can check out PrizePicks, linked down below in the description, or just when you sign up, make sure to use promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you sign up for PrizePicks with my promo code. And for those of you that don't know what PrizePicks is, they are a player prop site. As you can see, they have props already posted for Friday's NBA games. There's already a good amount of props up on the board. You take a look at their board, see if there's anything that stands out to you. It is very simple on PrizePicks. You're just picking more or less on a player's projection. They have a bunch of different props, as you can see. As we get closer to the start of the games on Friday, you'll see even more props on the board. So if you want to take a look at PrizePicks board, see if there's anything that stands out to you, you can go make some entries over there. Again, you're just picking more or less on a player's projection. It's that simple. If you guys don't have an account over on PrizePicks, get signed up, use that promo code NOAH, and you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and talk through this Friday slate. Hope you guys all had a good Thanksgiving, and we're back to the grind, man. So 8-game slate for Friday night. We'll start off with the first game of the night, the Bulls and the Raptors. We'll start off on the Chicago side. So for the Bulls, last game, Zach LaVine was listed as probable, and then he wound up being a late scratch. He got ruled out. LaVine is listed as questionable for today, so this will be some important news to monitor. If LaVine does not play, that greatly benefits Vooch, DeRozan, and Kobe White. I think those are the guys that get the biggest boost without LaVine. Especially DeRozan. I think at 7,300, I would have a lot of interest in DeRozan here if there is no LaVine. It's not the greatest matchup on the road against the Raptors, but I definitely like DeRozan on the slate if LaVine's out. I think Kobe White at 5,600 would definitely be in play as well. His minutes would be very secure. He would pick up more usage without LaVine. I wouldn't even mind Vooch either. I think he'd be my third favorite of the Bulls guys, but I think Vooch would be interesting here if LaVine's out. The rest of the Bulls, though, I'd probably pass on. If LaVine plays, I don't like a ton here. I think the big three from Chicago, Vooch, LaVine, DeRozan, those guys are playable at their price tags, but none of them really stand out on this slate in this spot. I think the only way that I'm really going to be getting much exposure to this Bulls team is if LaVine were to sit again. So that's it for the Bulls. Now on the other side with the Raptors, and I kind of like some of these Raptors guys. Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, I think are both reasonably priced. Siakam has really started to turn it on lately. He's had some big games lately. Now he's had some good matchups. Against the Pacers, really good spot. He has had some tougher matchups though. Against Orlando, a good defense. Against Boston, a good defense. This matchup against the Bulls, I think is like okay for Siakam. I don't think it's great by any means. I think Siakam's fine at 8,200. I think Scotty Barnes at 8,700 is fine as well. There's really no standout plays coming from the Raptors today. I do want to say that Precious Achua's status is kind of important. So Achua got injured last game. He's questionable for today. If Achua does not play, that does secure the minutes for Jakob Poeltl. I think Poeltl would probably play 26 to 28 minutes most likely if there is no Achua. There's definitely a chance he could get up to like 30, 32 minutes. So I wouldn't mind Poeltl at 5,900 if Achua's out. If Achua plays, then I'm not as interested in Poeltl here. But again, this is not a game I have a ton of interest in. I think the only way I'm going to be getting a lot of exposure to this game is if LaVine were to get ruled out. Let's move on to the next game, though, Miami and the Knicks. So looking at Miami here, Bam Adebayo, he was also probable last game and then wound up getting ruled out. He was kind of a late scratch. He's questionable for today. This is definitely big news. Bam, without Tyler Hero right now, Bam's obviously a guy that soaks up a lot of usage. So without Bam, if Bam were to sit again, there would be a lot of usage available for Jimmy Butler, for some of these other guys. We saw Kyle Lowry have a really big game last game without Bam, put up 37 Draftkings points in 29 minutes. And then you did see Thomas Bryant draw the start at center. I don't know why, but Draftkings did not even move his price tag. He's still stone minimum 3K today. So I guess if Bam is out again, they would start Thomas Bryant. But it is worth noting they didn't have Kevin Love last game, so I guess they could start Kevin Love here at center if Bam is out. It's probably either one of Bryant or Love. So whoever starts the center, if there is no Bam, I would definitely like for value. And then Orlando Robinson would get the backup 5 minutes, and Orlando Robinson did play 28 minutes last game. He got a little bit extended because of a blowout, but he's a really good point per minute player. Him and Thomas Bryant both did really well last game, and actually you could have played them together and it would have actually worked out. Okay, so it looks like, I'm reading a report here, it looks like Robinson was sent to the G League. So, okay, I guess Orlando Robinson's back in the G League, so I'm assuming he won't be playing today unless Bam gets ruled out. Then I guess they could like call him up. But I guess they're probably assuming Bam's going to play then if they sent Robinson back to the G League. So yeah, I'm assuming he probably won't be active here unless there is no Bam. I didn't even know that Robinson got sent to the G League. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that status of Bam. But again, since they sent Robinson to the G League, that probably means that Bam's going to play today. If Bam is playing, then I don't like a ton on the Heat here. I think the only way I'm going to get exposure to this team is if Bam were to get ruled out. I would like whoever would start at center, and then I would like Jimmy Butler as well. Duncan Robinson, he is questionable for this game. He was really disappointing last game. I don't have a ton of interest in Duncan here. Even if Bam gets ruled out, like I don't know if that really helps Duncan, because I think Bam and Duncan play well together because they can run like dribble handoff stuff. So yeah, I'm not super interested in Duncan either way. And then obviously Lowry, you could go there if there is no Bam. I think Lowry would be interesting. But let's move on to the other side of this game now and talk about the Knicks. So looking at the Knicks here, this is not a spot that I'm super interested in. Tough matchup against Miami. This is going to be kind of a slower paced game. Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson are two guys that offer plenty of upside and can put up big games any night. I don't think on this slate, though, either one of them really stand out. It's a really tough spot for Mitchell Robinson if Bam plays, but I think if Bam does get ruled out, it kind of becomes like a sneaky good spot for Mitchell Robinson. Taking out Bam, replacing him with either Kevin Love or Thomas Bryant is definitely a huge downgrade in terms of the Heat's rim defense. So I think Mitch Robinson would kind of be like a sneaky play if there is no Bam. But I really don't want to be getting too many Knicks here. This is not a team I have a ton of interest in today. I think we can move on to the next game, Detroit and Indiana. This is a game that I definitely want to get some exposure to. So on the Detroit side, Jalen Duren is listed as questionable for today. He was a full participant in practice on Wednesday, so he probably plays here. Then Bojan Bogdanovic, he might have a chance to return. I thought I did see that he got ruled out, or maybe he's questionable, so he might be able to make his season debut Friday. I'd assume if he does play, he'll be on a pretty strict minutes limit. But this is a great spot for these Detroit guys playing the Pacers. The Pacers have just been giving up a ton of points this season. The Pacers play at a really fast pace. I made Cade Cunningham the thumbnail for today. I think it's a great spot for Cade Cunningham. 7,800 is definitely not a super expensive price tag for Cade, especially in this matchup. You could argue that in this matchup, he should be like 8,500. So I like Cade quite a bit at 7,800 here. I think he is a strong guard option. I think Azar Thompson's in a pretty good spot as well. I'd assume that even if Bojan plays today, that Azar would stick in the starting lineup. Maybe they would move him to the bench, but I doubt it. So I think Azar Thompson's role is pretty secure here. Minutes should be good as long as this game stays competitive. And then Jalen Duren, I think, is in a really good matchup as well. The Pacers have definitely been a good matchup for centers this season. This is a matchup where I think Duren could definitely dominate on the glass, which he typically is able to do. If he's full go today, I don't mind him at 6,600. But like Stewart, Sasser, the rest of these guys, I'll probably pass on. You could maybe go to like Marvin Bagley if Duren sits again. But given that Duren was a full participant in practice, I'm assuming Duren's going to play here. So for me, when it comes to this Pistons team, I definitely like Cade a lot. I think Duren and Thompson are both in play as well. Don't see a ton else though that I like on the Pistons today. Bojan, if he plays, again, we'll have to see. Like I assume he'll be on a pretty strict minutes limit because he hasn't played in this entire season. But he is really cheap, 5,100. But I don't think we're going to go there on this slate. So let's talk about the other side of this game now with Indiana. And for the Pacers here, kind of have some interest in these Pacers guys as well. Tyrese Halliburton has been playing at an elite level this season. He has put up some huge games for fantasy. His assist numbers have just been absurd. He's averaging over 12 assists per game. He's had at least 15 assists in 4 out of their last 5 games. Like the dude's playing out of his mind right now, but he's 11K. It's going to be really tough to pay 11K for Halliburton on this slate. Not saying he can't outperform that salary because clearly he can just by looking at his game log. I don't think I'm going to be going out of my way, though, to play Halliburton. I think Miles Turner at 7,200 is okay. Don't mind him on this slate. Don't think it's the greatest spot with Jalen Duren coming back because Duren is a pretty good defender. But, yeah, Turner's fine. Buddy Hield I do like quite a bit. So Buddy Hield has started the last 2 games for the Pacers, and I'm assuming he's going to continue to start. And he's been really good as a starter. 31 minutes, 35 minutes, 30 DraftKings points, 50 DraftKings points. Buddy Hield is kind of like he's a scoring dependent player. So if he's not knocking down shots, he does have kind of a lower floor. He's not really going to do much else besides shoot threes. But, the last 2 games, he shot the ball well. He's played big minutes. It's a good matchup. It should be a good game environment here against the Pistons. I definitely like Buddy Hield on this slate. He's probably my favorite play on the Pistons or on the Pacers overall. But I think that's it for this game. Not too much else stands out here. Aaron Naismith and Andrew Nembhard were both out last game. We'll have to see if they play for today. If they do play, I don't think that means too much. I'd assume maybe they would go back to Naismith in the starting lineup. He did start the most recent game that he played in, but last game we saw them go back to Obi Toppin in the starting lineup. Either way, though, if we're looking at this Pacers team, I definitely like Buddy Hield the most here, and then I think Halliburton and Turner are fine plays as well. Moving on to the next game, Kings and Timberwolves. So for the Kings today, going to need to monitor the status of Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray was out their last game. And with Keegan Murray out, we did see Chris Duarte draw the start. Now, Duarte only played 20 minutes as a starter. He was in foul trouble, though. He had 5 fouls in those 20 minutes. He is super cheap today, $3,900. So if Keegan Murray is out again and Duarte starts, I don't mind Duarte here as a value play. We did see the last time he started this game against Dallas, he was really good. 33 minutes, 34 DraftKings points. He's shown the ability to be a decent producer when he gets opportunity, and he's really cheap. So I definitely like Duarte if he does start again. The rest of the Kings, though, Sabonis and Fox, very similar to like Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. Like, you can play Sabonis and Fox any slate, but I just don't know if this is a slate where I really want to be playing these guys. Tougher matchup against Minnesota. Minnesota's been one of the best defensive teams this season. Not a ton of interest in Sabonis or Fox here. The rest of the Kings, I'm not interested in. I think for me, if I'm going to get any exposure to this team, it's probably just going to be with Chris Duarte as a value play if Keegan Murray is out again. And then on the other side, looking at Minnesota. So for the Timberwolves today, I think it's a pretty good spot for these Minnesota guys. The Kings do play at a relatively fast pace. Anthony Edwards, I think someone we can definitely look to pay up for on the slate, 8,700. We know Ant has big time upside. We know he's going to play big minutes as long as the game is competitive. And I think this price tag still puts him firmly in play. He is definitely not too expensive here. So I do like Ant quite a bit. I think Cat at 8,400 looks kind of appealing. Cat has been producing at a way better rate lately than he was to begin the season. He's starting to be more aggressive offensively, rebounding more. He's just been doing everything on the floor, and the minutes have also been there as well. So don't mind Cat here. Gobert is a okay play. Like, Gobert's not a guy that has a huge ceiling, but the floor on Gobert is pretty solid. It's 6,900. He's a fine play at that salary. Then I do want to talk about Nickeil Alexander-Walker because he did start last game in place of Jaden McDaniels, and it looks like he's going to be the starter moving forward while McDaniels is out. So with NAW starting, he played 29 minutes last game. If we're going to get like 29 to 32, 33 minutes for NAW here, I know the price tag came up to 4,400, but I still think at this price tag, he is in play. He has shown the ability to be relatively productive when he does get minutes. So I do have interest in NAW for value, assuming he, obviously he does start again. The rest of the Timberwolves, though, I don't see too much interest in anyone else. Mike Conley probably will pass on. Kyle Anderson, I think, does get a little bit of a boost without Jaden McDaniels. So if you want to go there for value, I don't hate it. He did play 28 minutes off the bench last game. And then we did see Naz Reid put up a decent game in only 22 minutes. I don't know, though, if he gets much of a boost without McDaniels. I think it really benefits like NAW and slow-mo. So, yeah, that's it for that game. Let's move on to the next game, Washington and Milwaukee. So looking at the Wizards here, I kind of like the spot for these Wizards guys. The only thing I worry about is there is a lot of blowout risk in this game. The Wizards have been really bad this season. They've been getting blown out a lot. This game's being played in Milwaukee. But if the Wizards can keep this game competitive, we have seen in competitive games, they will play their guys pretty big minutes. Last game, Kuzma got 35 minutes in a competitive game, had 62 DraftKings points. I know that was a better matchup against Charlotte, but Milwaukee's defense hasn't been as strong, this season as it was last season. So I don't mind Kuzma here. I think it's actually a pretty decent spot for Jordan Poole. We have seen guards do really well against the Bucks this season, and Poole's minutes have been trending up. His usage has been strong lately. He's been taking a lot of shots. I know the game log for Poole this season has been very inconsistent, but again, you kind of have to look at that. You look at the bigger picture, and you see a lot of these games where he didn't do well, could have been because of a blowout, and maybe he didn't play full minutes. Well, the last few games have been competitive, and we've seen Poole actually produce. So I don't mind Jordan Poole here at 6,800. Denny Avdia, Tyus Jones at their price tags, not super interested in them. Daniel Gafford, the minutes have been good for him lately, but I think this is a pretty tough spot for Gafford. going up against a Bucks team that does have really good rim protection, really good rim defense. Brook Lopez is a very strong defender. Not the greatest matchup here for Gafford, but Gafford can produce when he does get opportunity, and the minutes have been trending up for him. So I think he at least is viable. And then Bilal Coulibaly coming off the bench has had a very consistent role. Minutes should be around mid to high 20s, but at 5K, I'll probably pass on him here. I think for me, when it comes to this Wizards team, I think my favorite play is probably Poole, then Kuzma, then Gafford. But I think getting some exposure to this Wizards team is something you can do. It's just a matter of if they can keep the game competitive, which is always a big if. Now on the other side with the Bucks, it's a great spot for these Bucks guys. The Wizards have been one of the best matchups this season. They're a horrible defensive team. The Wizards are. They play fast. It's a fantastic spot here for Giannis. Giannis against the Wizards, just a few days ago had a massive game, 73 DraftKings points, played 34 minutes. Look, if this game's competitive, we could see another 70 DraftKings points from Giannis here. I do worry about blowout in the spot, but man, Giannis has massive upside here. I think Dame has some big-time upside as well, but if I had to choose between him or Giannis, I would definitely rather go to Giannis if I can find the salary. And then the rest of the Bucks, I don't see too much interest else here. It is a good matchup for guys like Brook Lopez and Malik Beasley, but at their price tags, they don't really stand out to me. Definitely my favorite play on the Bucks here is Giannis. I think it's just a smash spot for him. It's just a matter of can the Wizards keep this game close, which is again, it's a big if, but if they do, I think Giannis has big-time upside. Let's move on to the next game, though. Still got a few more games to hit. So Denver and Houston. Looking at Denver today, still no Jamal Murray, so we know the role for Nikola Jokic here is going to be massive. You're also going to see more opportunity for Aaron Gordon, for MPJ. If we're looking at the price tags of these Denver guys, I think the only guy that I'm even considering on Denver is Jokic. And Jokic is really expensive. He's 12.9. It's going to be tough to pay that price tag for Jokic, especially if there's no value on the slate. We'll have to see if value opens up. But man, Jokic, you can't argue with what he's doing right now. Stuff in the stat sheet, pretty much putting up a triple-double almost every night. Houston has been good defensively this season, but that didn't stop Jokic from putting up 84 DraftKings points against them last time they played. Look, Jokic is amazing. The price tag's really high on him. If you can find a way to play him and you like your lineup, by all means, go ahead. I just think it's going to be tougher to play Jokic at that price tag. You're probably going to be forced to play some cheap guys that you really don't want to play if you want to get to Jokic, but he's definitely my favorite play on Denver. I don't have a ton of interest in anyone else on Denver. And on the other side with the Rockets, I don't see a ton of interest in any Rockets guys here either. Şengün, I think, is kind of in a tougher spot going up against Jokic. There's some foul trouble risks there as well. Van Vliet, Jalen Green, Jabari Smith all feel priced correctly. Same with Dylan Brooks. I'm fine just fading Houston here. If I was going to play anyone in this game, it would definitely be Jokic for me. So that's it for that game. Let's move on to the next one. Two more games to hit, guys. So looking at San Antonio and Golden State here, starting off on the San Antonio side. So for the Spurs today, Victor Wembanyama is coming in at 8,800. Wembanyama has had a boom bust season so far. He's had some big games, but he's also had a lot of disappointing games. But again, a lot of these disappointing games, kind of similar to Jordan Poole, have been because of blowout. You look at this game against OKC, massive blowout. I think this game against the Clippers was a blowout, but competitive game here, 54 DraftKings points. Competitive game against Memphis, 60 DraftKings points. You would think this game against Golden State would be competitive. Golden State hasn't really shown the ability to blow out anyone this season. So Wembanyama at 8,800, I do like here. I think with the Warriors still not having Draymond, I definitely think that makes their defense worse. So I think it does become a better matchup for Wemby. He's for sure my favorite play on the Spurs. But Keldon Johnson, Zach Collins, Devin Vassell, those guys feel all priced where they should be. There's nothing that stands out from the Spurs outside of Wemby here. He's the one guy I'd get exposure to, I think. At least for me, as someone that plays one lineup. Now, sure, if you're playing 150 lineups, you can mix in these other guys. But as a one lineup guy myself, for me, I think the only person I'm considering would probably be Wemby. Now, on the other side of this game with Golden State, Draymond, again, still suspended, so he'll be out. Steph Curry is coming in at 9,700. I think this is a really good spot for Steph Curry. Steph Curry, he hasn't had a bunch of big ceiling games this season. You look at his game log, he only has one game over 60 DraftKings points. So Curry, he has not really been paying off this price tag. He's not been justifying this price tag this season, but we know the upside is always massive for Steph, and this is a matchup that I think is very favorable. The Spurs have been a bad defensive team this season. Once again, they've been vulnerable against guards. I like this spot a lot for Steph, and I think he's definitely in play for GPPs. I don't mind Chris Paul either. Chris Paul's been starting, and he's been playing big minutes as a starter. He's also been very productive as a starter. You can't look too much into his last game because he got ejected in that one, but the two games before that he started, 38 minutes, 34 minutes, 43 DraftKings points, 47 DraftKings points. good matchup here for CP3 as well. I think he's in play at 7,200. And then Clay as like a low-owned dart throw in tournaments, I don't hate. Clay has started to show a little bit of life lately. When he gets hot from the field, we know that Clay can put up a huge game any night. It's just that, scoring-wise, he just hasn't really been able to get it done this season. But man, one of these nights, Clay's going to go out there and put up like 40 points. I don't know when it's going to be. Maybe this is the game that happens, but eventually Clay's going to have a big game. I don't know when it's going to happen. If you want to take that shot in GBPs, you could. And then, Kevon Looney, Andrew Wiggins, both feel priced about right. Looney has been starting lately. He has been seeing okay minutes, but don't know if this is a spot I really want to go to Looney. I think there's other centers I'd rather be playing. So that's it for that game. Let's move on to the last game of the night, the Pelicans and the Clippers. So for the Pelicans, still no CJ McCollum, so we can expect a really big role for both Brandon Ingram and Zion. Don't love the spot going up against the Clippers, who are a pretty good defensive team. They do have strong defenders in Paul George and Kawhi that can kind of give these guys trouble. I think the price tags on Ingram and Zion are both fair. Neither one of them stand out at their price tags. Jonas Valanciunas at almost 7K. I'm okay avoiding. Herb Jones is over 6K. Don't want to pay that price tag for Herb Jones. Dyson Daniels has been starting lately. He's had a pretty good role at playing pretty decent minutes, but again, he's almost 6K, so I think I'm fine kind of avoiding him at over almost 6K. There's not much that really stands out on the Pelicans here. And on the other side with the Clippers, it's kind of the same thing. I don't see a ton I like on the Clippers today. PG, Kawhi, they both feel priced where they should be. Same with James Harden. Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, I'll probably pass on, even though his salary has come down a little bit. Zubac, he should continue to play decent minutes with Norman Powell or with Mason Plumlee out. Don't know if this is a matchup though where I really want to be targeting Zubac. We know Zubac's minutes can't always be volatile. I'm okay just kind of avoiding him. Norman Powell is questionable for today. I think he didn't return in their last game. If Norman Powell doesn't play, that probably gives a few more minutes to a guy like Westbrook. Maybe Terrence Mann plays a little bit more. Terrence Mann has been starting since they moved Westbrook to the bench, but that really hasn't resulted in much fantasy value. As you can see, he's really not even been producing as a starter. I don't see much here. This late game, Clippers and Pelicans, one I'm probably just going to be avoiding. I don't really see a ton I like on either side of this game. So that'll do it, guys, for this 8-game Friday night slate. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, appreciate you watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button down below if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And be sure to go check out PrizePicks, sponsor of the video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks, linked down below in the description. Or just when you sign up, make sure to use promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you sign up for PrizePicks with my promo code. But that's all that I got for tonight, guys. Good luck on this slate. Enjoy your Friday night. Enjoy your weekend, guys. And we will see you in the next video.